and welcome to July 4th, America's birthday, and also the day we're reading 1 Chronicles 29 through 2 Chronicles 3. So let's go ahead and get started in those. This finishes off the end of 1 Chronicles, which is all about the end of David's story, which is all about really building a temple for God, because that's the important part of David's story, and so we'll stick with that. After that, we'll actually open up 2 Chronicles as well and go through the first little bit of Solomon's story, which is also all about building the temple of God, which is good, and we'll talk about that because Solomon is actually pretty good if you read 1st and 2nd Chronicles anyway. When we finish David's story in chapter 29 of 1st Chronicles, David basically says, hey, I have assembled much for the temple. I have assembled a lot of resources for it, but this is a temple where everyone's going to worship, and so everyone should assemble something for it. He asks for contributions to the temple. Many people do. There's a whole lot of resources of money that are being poured into the temple, and so he takes those collections and he sets them aside, and he's going to use them for the work of God, for building up the temple so that God is worshipped and properly glorified. At the end of 1 Chronicles 29, you get this kind of summary of David's life where he ruled for about 40 years, he did some good stuff, and then he died, and now it's Solomon's turn, and Solomon picks up in 2 Chronicles 1. As you open that book, as we get to the new section, Solomon ends up becoming the king, and God is with him, and Solomon is in charge, and as soon as you get into chapter 1, you get this picture, you get the 1 Kings chapter 3 picture of God coming to Solomon and asking him what he wants, and Solomon actually just asks for wisdom. David had advised Solomon to ask for wisdom earlier on, and so Solomon repeats his father's request. Hey, Dad told me I need wisdom. God, please give me wisdom. God does give him wisdom, and God guides him. He's helping him in that way, but he also blesses him with a lot of riches, which Solomon applies at the end of chapter 1 into, some of his military stuff, which is curious, but we'll pass on that for now. We'll see if it comes back up later. As soon as you get into chapter 2, Solomon writes to Hiram of Tyre. He's the king in the north. Hiram is going to supply a bunch of wood for the temple and also the palace. And so he establishes a trade deal with that. Solomon inherits a bunch of wood through that. And in chapter 3, he ends up beginning to build the temple, laying out the plans for the most holy place and the bronze pillars primarily. And you'll see the rest of the construction continue on as we go through the next few chapters. But we'll have to leave that for next week. It's already Friday at this point. So next week, we'll be reading 2 Chronicles 4 through 20 and finishing out the temple and then Solomon and then going through a bunch of the divided kingdom and seeing some of the difficulties that have arisen throughout their time. See you then.